before I begin, I'm just going to say that yes, I know I said I was never going to review this film if this film got a, not a great score or review, whatever. But I am technically not going to give a review today, as I invited a good friend of mine to come in today, give you his views on it and what he liked and what he disliked about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him questions and I'm going to ask him questions, what he liked, what he disliked, and he'll give the final score of how good or bad this film is. So here to give you his views and opinions on this film is my good friend Mitchell.
Great to be here, Luke.
Yeah, nice to see you here. Alright, just first question I'm just going to completely ask you, as I think it's a question that everyone wants to know. Did Ben Affleck live up to the legacy of Bruce Wayne and Batman?
I say he did. A lot of people were giving Ben Affleck a lot of shit when he was first cast, but he was actually one of the best parts of this movie. He actually rose above what my expectations anyway. Like, the Batman portrayed in this film was a very sort of dark and brooding character, but he also had a lot of energy put into him. You could definitely see that Ben Affleck cared about being this character, portraying him well.
Would you say Ben Affleck's Batman would rank as one of the best, or what's your opinion on it?
Honestly, out of the 3 live-action Batmans, it's very hard to pick a winner. Like, they've all got their best characteristics and their low characteristics. It was great not hearing him grunt into his suit. Having his suit modify his voice for him really did. It showed that they knew the problems of the last Batman. It just sort of amplified him up. I would say about on par with Christian Bale, and Michael Keaton is still probably my favourite Batman. I don't know, I'll have to see more of the DC movies to rank him higher or lower.
Now, getting into the other performances from the other actors and the characters, which one stood out as good and which one stood out as bad?
This might be an unpopular opinion, but Wonder Woman actually really surprised me.
Really?
Yeah, Gal Gadot really portrayed, I can't remember her real identity, but as Wonder Woman, involved in the action scenes, she looked great. Visually, she was great. Her fighting ability was awesome. It would have been nice to know what she could actually do, though, but honestly, she was just out there and awesome.
Now, there's been a lot of criticisms regarding Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Apparently, he was completely miscast, and everyone is completely just shoveling shit on him. Like, what do you think of that?
Jesse Eisenberg was the worst part of this movie. He just came off as this insane lunatic who just doesn't know how to person. He's not a real person. He's some caricature. He's just so over the top, and every line of dialogue he says is just so weird and so out of place. You just can't help but laugh at it.
What did you think of the story?
What story? I guess you could say there's a story. Every character's motivations were quite unclear. Like, at one moment you could say, oh, I think I can understand why he thinks like this, but it never sticks you. It's never looming over the character saying, this is what drives him. It's always just to build up to have Batman fighting Superman. There's basically no plot. Like,
and was the 2.5 hour runtime really necessary?
I'll just say this, instead of being called Batman vs Superman, it should have been called Batman vs Superman vs my bladder.
Comedy. Were the visuals complete overkill, or was there a nice bounce to it, just to, like, say it wasn't, say, Michael Bay CGI heavy shit like that?
The cinematography was fine. In a lot of the non-action scenes, the cinematography was really down. In the action scene, there was a lot of action, but I think the best way to describe this is to reference Fight Club. It's a movie full of condiments. It's all just style with no substance. And adding to the CGI, at one point there's a video game, and I literally just pretended I was holding a controller, and it felt like playing a video game. It looked like a video game. The CGI was so terrible. Remember Doomsday from the trailer, right?
Yeah, that ogre-looking thing.
The CGI did not improve from the trailer. Usually in trailers they sort of show the first sort of draft of CGI, well, maybe the second and third, and then they improve it by the final product. You can see it in like the evolution of the Jurassic World trailer, even though that still looked like shit in the end. Yeah, the CGI looked like shit, basically.
And what's your overall opinion? Should people see this film? Is it a film people will enjoy as comic book fans? Or will they just completely, hate it and just, is it not worth seeing at all?
If you know Batman and Superman, you'd probably want to see this just by how hilariously bad it is. Like, just to add to a few more topics, the music was pretty adequate, except for Wonder Woman's theme. That sounded great. I'd say if you're a regular moviegoer, you probably don't want to see it. Fun, depending on the person you are. It is a lot of fun, the action scenes, but everything else, tying it together, is just so flimsily done and so just missing.
So what's the final score you're going to give this film?
Before I give you my score, I just want to mention that the other reason this film will not succeed over Civil War, X-Men Apocalypse, is that it hasn't earned this type of film. It hasn't earned this. All it had was Man of Steel. It hasn't been able to build up any characters. It was just there, just because they could do it. It didn't deserve to have it. So, overall, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Thank you for watching. I'm NETX5 and this is Mitchell.
Hi.
Thank you for watching.